Looking for the right realtor to sell your property? The Henri Frank Group at RE/MAX Preferred is your answer. Selling properties in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade County? Call Henri and Frank, 954-604-9999, and schedule a free consultation and market analysis of your home. Henri Frank Group at RE/MAX will show you their 100-step program to sold. Call 954-604-9999. If you're just thinking about selling, today is the day to get started. 954-604-9999.
Okay, we're back. I'm Frank Vigliotti with the Real Estate Roundtable with Henri and Frank. We're brokered by RE/MAX Preferred at 2810 East Oakland Park Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. And we're with the lovely Lynn Whitefall from Gold Star Financial Group. Lynn can be reached at 754-245-3003. Or you can always call the Henri Frank Group at RE/MAX Preferred office, 954-604-9999. And we can always get you directed to Lynn. We want to talk to Lynn about mortgages. Each show, we're going to have Lynn's Mortgage Minute, and she will update us on rates, 30-year fixed rates, 15-year fixed rates, and information that we need to know about mortgages. Probably one of the most important topics when it comes to purchasing for primary residence. So, Lynn, tell me, what are the rates right now?
Well, Frank, yesterday we locked a buyer, FHA buyer, at 4.625 on a 30-year fixed rate. So,
wow,
that's low.
Great.
That is low. And we spoke about that last week, how, right now your dollar cost averaging, you're buying more house for less payment. So, and that's not going to stay like that forever. It's important that we take advantage of these low rates. Just a couple of months ago, if you look at the rate charts, they were up in the fives. So it's low, and it's time to lock your rates in. It's time to take advantage of these low rates.
Okay. And I also want to bring up the topic of how long should a buyer, how long does the process take? From the time you speak to them, take the mortgage application, to scheduling a closing date?
Well, I want to make sure that every buyer is 100% prepared to make sure that when they sit down and they execute a contract with you, that they're 100% positive that that deal is going to close. Before we even get you into a pre-approval, we make sure that all your income is being calculated the way an underwriter is going to calculate it. A lot of buyers don't realize how underwriters calculate their income, and the numbers may be off. So, $200,000, you may have a number of $200,000 in your head, but we want to make sure that that payment is affordable for you on paper so that you're 100% sure your deal is going to close. So the whole process, we just need to verify some pay stubs, some tax returns to make sure that that's all working. That can take us, as quickly as you can get us the information. So generally, our pre-approval process can take anywhere from an hour to 24 hours, depending upon if the information is not available. But from start to finish, we're closing our buyers within 3 weeks.
So we can say up to 21 days,
Absolutely.
Which is quick.
Quick.
Is that the norm, or we should count on a 30-day closing?
I always recommend longer contracts only because you just don't know, certain things may pop up. If you may have an appraisal issue, maybe the appraisal comes in slightly short, or maybe there's a title glitch. We need to work those things out. It's better to have a longer contract and close early than to keep asking for extensions, as you know, because it just adds up more work for you and
and stress on the seller.
Stress on the seller. We want to make the seller happy. So I like to get closed within 21 days, but I prefer at least a 30-day contract. This way, if anything does come up, or if we need some information that the buyer may not be able to get right away, a CPA is out of town for a few days.
Right.
There's certain things that we don't want to be rushed. So
I guess what we could say about that is, if a seller wants a quick closing, we can certainly accommodate.
That's right.
But we don't have to. More for a comfortable closing, would it be a 30-day closing?
Absolutely.
And we've even had clients, we're closing on a deal next Wednesday on the 15th, and that was a 75-day closing on the seller's request.
Right.
And my buyer was agreed to that to give the seller enough time to pack, move, and find a new place.
Absolutely.
But that loan is sitting there waiting to be closed.
That's right.
It was a courtesy to the seller. So there's a lot of flexibility from what I'm hearing.
Yes.
But the quick would be 21 day.
Yeah,
and
that's the quickest.
We can do that.
Absolutely. That's with, not having everybody be too rushed. Keep in mind it takes a few days to get an appraisal. When we send our files, and we want to make sure that everything is 100% ready to go, that the underwriter's not conditioning us for everything.
Right.
That's really what's going to produce a fast closing, is being
that's why
prepared.
we have this relationship. Lynn is the best mortgage broker in all of Florida. And has pulled off some great closings for us. Lynn, again, if you have your pen and paper out, 754-245-3003. You can go on our website, henryfrank.com, and we have a link on our website to reach Lynn, or you can always call our office, 954-604-9999, and we'll certainly get you in touch with Lynn. So thank you very much.
Oh,
we appreciate
welcome.
that.
I'm proud to be a part of the Henri Frank Group.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And what you're going to be helpful in our next segment, which we wanted to talk about a checklist that we have on our website for buyers, and it's precise. I think it's a good checklist. You can go to the website www.henryfrank.com. Along the top, you see buyers. It's a pull down. Click buyer's checklist, and it will take you step by step the process from the day you're even thinking about buying to the closing. And it's really important to have as much information as you possibly can. Understanding the process, understanding the mortgage process is a large part of it, but just a part of it.
Right. And knowing where you are in the process, so you feel, that it's important to give our buyers, which you do so well, is give buyers confidence to know where they are in the process, so that you're not
Right.
like wondering, what's next? You just kind of follow the checklist.
Right. And then we have a timeline. Contractually, we'll have a timeline for our buyers. But not only that, we go above that timeline contractually. Of course, that's important. But all the little details that go into this process. Really, the very first thing when a buyer calls and they ask us for our help is we need to get them, and if they don't have cash and they're not a cash buyer and they're financing, is to speak to Lynn at Goldside Financial Group and get pre-approved. We need to know how much house you can afford comfortably. I never do business with a buyer that's going to become mortgage poor. It just doesn't do anything for anyone. And that's part of our responsibilities to educate the buyers and make sure they have an understanding and they're not mortgage poor. We don't want them to get into a house and then I see them at the grocery store a month later and I have to run in the other direction because now they can't even afford the groceries. Right. So it's really important, and that's really, I can't stress that enough. But we need to know how much house you can afford. Once we know how much house you can afford, the next step is to find out which area, what areas. If you're a family, that school districts are very important. We have to go through that search and that discussion. If you want near the beach, what part of near the beach can you afford? There's different price levels all along the beach, from Jupiter down to Miami. So we then have to focus on an area that's for the buyer. Mm-hmm. And then once we have that, the next real important thing that so many, I think, buyers agents don't do is listen to the client, listen to the buyers, what's important for them, what you want. Is large closets something you have to have? Is a garage something you have to have? Washer and dryer in the unit? Really detailed questions. One of the questions I ask my buyers, what is the favorite house in what is the favorite room in the house? Is it the kitchen, living room, outdoor space? What's most important to you? There's no sense in me searching the market for a house that has a lousy kitchen when the kitchen's the most important for them. So to not waste our time or the buyer's time or the seller's time, we don't want to bring buyers into a house that the sellers aren't going to. That's a really all important. So the buyer's checklist is on the website, henryfrank.com. I want to close the show today. Lynn and I are working on a really great project here in Fort Lauderdale, 43 Urban Village. New construction. We're talking to the developer. And I think amongst all this bad news, that's good news.
That's great news.
It's good news that developers want to build. Mm-hmm. And despite the national numbers, Southern Florida has a shortage of quality properties. Mm-hmm. These foreclosures, these short sales, they may be opportunities price-wise, but we really need new quality. And by speaking to 43 Urban Village, we're going to have that up on our website, henryfrank.com. Call us, 954-604-9999, and we'll tell you more about that property. But it's upcoming, and we're really excited. It's eco-friendly, has workspace, the way they're designed. It's a really unique project.
The developer's very excited about the fact that, in these work-live units, you can avoid certain expenses. And, basically you're paying double prices when you're trying to work somewhere and live somewhere. So certain self-employed home businesses can avoid those expenses.
So we have exciting things. Again, reach us. It's the Henri Frank Group. This is the Real Estate Roundtable with Henri and Frank. Thank you, Lynn, for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Reach us at 954-604-9999. On the web, henryfrank.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at Henri Frank Group, Twitter at Henri Frank Group. We'll remind you when the shows are coming up. We're also going to be archived on our website. So if you missed the show or you have somebody that you want to listen to the show, we'll have our archived shows on the website, henryfrank.com. So you really have to remember that, henryfrank.com with an I. And, we'll have all that information for you so you can follow along. Our next show is Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we're going to be talking about selling your home and the 100-step program that has been developed by Henri Frank Group for sellers. Great. We take 100 steps to sold, and we sell our listings. So thank you for listening this morning, and we hope to hear from you. 954-604-9999, and have a great day.
You've been listening to the Real Estate Roundtable with Henri and Frank. Henri Vezie and Frank Vigliotti have a wealth of experience bringing buyers and sellers together in Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties. The Henri Frank Group, brokered by RE/MAX Preferred, has offices in Fort Lauderdale, Hillsborough Beach, Plantation, Wilton Manors, and soon on Las Olas Boulevard. Contact them at 954-604-9999 or online at henryfrank.com. That's Henri with an I, Frank.com. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.